Рада видеть вас здесь в цех. Спасибо большое Coursera за то, что в такой короткий срок согласилась пообщаться с нами и с вами в первую очередь. И я хочу представить вам Никхил Синха, Chief Business Officer Coursera. Я думаю, что мы сейчас в такой теплой, кулуарной обстановке пообщаемся и поговорим о Coursera, о ее развитии и о том, как она может помочь нам стать круче, сильнее, выше, умнее. Thank you. And as I promised, guys, you all speak English, right? Because we were saying that it will be an English language meetup. So the floor is yours.
Spasiba. That's the only Russian I know. So, before I get talking, I'd love to have you talk to me. So, I'm going to come around. Love to know your names and what you're working on.
My name is Michael. Learning special. Russian company.
So is it a old company, young company, how big a company?
Guys, what if we sit closer, you know? So probably sit here, so everybody would be.
I'm going to keep going.
And one more thing, could you please use the mic because we have an online streaming going on.
My name is Oleg. I work as a country manager in sales for a multinational company. No, it's FMCG.
For you?
Yeah, thank you. Could you just pass the mic around?
Hello, my name is Alexandra, and I'm a student and teacher of investment.
That's great. What kind of investments?
Financial markets and some bonds and shares.
Great.
Hi, my name is Ksenia. I'm a student and I study economics.
Are you a student at HSE?
No.
No.
Hi, my name is Natalia and I'm working at the Russian educational platform, Stepik.
Stepik. Stepik, is that a competitor? Stepik? Where are you guys? You're here for intelligence gathering.
Yeah, hi, my name is Aliona, and I actually work for PwC, and I work for strategy consulting, and my clients are education, mainly universities and professional training centers, so yeah, I'm here for work.
Great.
My name is Michael, and I'm doing software development for internet media.
Startup?
No.
Hello, my name is Evgeny. I'm front-end developer in media. It's my
Hello, my name is Clement. I'm head of marketing for the publishing house company. So it's a conventional business model, not like yours.
Hello, I'm Stanislav, head of education center, music education, art education for children, small one. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Artem. I create a service for credible online exams with Adey.
Okay, so my name is Adeni, and together with Artem, we are the co-founders of Proctor Edu, which is an online proctoring service, one of the only 2 Russian companies doing that. Yeah.
Are you working with the national platform?
We are integrated into the national platform. Yeah.
My name is Maria. I work for investment bank equity research, telecoms and media, so professional interests here.
Hi, Nikhil. I'm Alona. I'm your PR manager.
I can't do anything in Moscow without Rona's permission.
Hello, my name is Lena. I'm working here in tceh and I'm an event organizer here.
Hi, my name is Sasha and I work in tceh with Yulia and Lena, and I help Yulia to develop educational programs in tceh.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Courserians, for coming. Anybody else?
My name is Yuri, and I work as project manager for Sberinvest asset management company.
Hello, my name is Andrei. I'm a SEO and web analytic specialist.
Great. Have you got everyone? Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on a evening. I know you've got a lot of options in Moscow, so coming to hear us talk about Coursera is great. I will say a few things, and then most of the session I'm going to be available to answer whatever questions that you've got. How many of you know what Coursera is? Everyone, almost. How many of you actually taken a Coursera course? Very impressive. Did you complete the course? my favorite question is, so one of the things we'll talk about is why you didn't complete the course, but we'll come back to that during the Q&A. I'm the Chief Business Officer. That hides many sins. I run the team that works with our content producers, our university partners, and we also have now companies who put content on our platform. So we've got 150 university partners and about 14 companies who put content on our platform. 8 of those university partners are here in Russia, and 2 of those industry partners are here in Russia as well. I also manage the team that sells content into enterprises, into governments, nonprofits, and companies. And I run our strategy teams, our corporate strategy and content strategy team. So we have a content strategy team that is focused on deciding, analyzing what content we should source to put in our platform, and then also helps create that content helps the content creators create the right kind of content. I've been with the company 2 years. I joined in January 2016. Before that, I spent 5 years setting up a new university in India. And it's a multidisciplinary research university. Before that, I spent a few years as a venture capitalist. I think that's why I got invited for the presentation today, part of the reasons at least. And I spent 10 years working as an academic at the University of Texas at Austin, but I left twice to do 2 startups, one in IT outsourcing, one in business process outsourcing. So if you look at my skill sets, I've got 3 areas of at least knowledge, if not expertise. One is higher education, the second is early stage companies, and the third is technology. And of course, Coursera is all 3. We are a early stage higher education technology company. A little bit about Coursera, for those of you who may not know. Largest online platform in the world now, 28 million registered learners. We add 500,000 new learners to the platform every month. So 6 to 7 million new learners added to the platform every year. We've got learners in every country in the world. 655,000 of them are here in Russia, and then another about 300,000 in the region. So about 1 million people, million Russian language speaking people registered on our content. Russia is one of the fastest growing markets for us. We grew 30% registered learners last year, year on year. And the paid learners from Russia grew over 80% from last year to this year. So we see great progress. We have a lot of Russian language content on our platform now, about 140 courses in Russian from our Russian institutions. We also have the largest catalog of higher education content, over 2,000 courses, 200 specializations, and now you can take full online degree programs on Coursera. We've got 4 degree programs in business, entrepreneurship, accountancy, and computer science, and we'll continue to add more degree programs in the coming years. So that's a quick update on Coursera. Let me stop here and see if you've got any questions, and then I'll share some more. Things about Coursera and our space during the Q&A. So let me stop here and see if you guys have any questions. There's a mic somewhere around. I'm sorry, that couch was too comfortable.
Okay, well, I like that place too. Okay, thank you.
I have a marketing question about the customer retention, customer lifetime value, and the lifetime span of a customer for, if it's not a secret.
It might be, but why don't you ask it? So you want to know, let's go through. What is the customer retention?
So
First.
The retention would be the number of people who at least took another course, secondary course.
So let's first talk about number of people who complete courses before we even talk about the second course, right? Let's talk about the first course. So a lot of you came onto the platform, registered for a course, and then didn't complete the course, right? I'd love to hear just a few. Why didn't you complete? Why did you drop out of the course? I know the big issue, time. Time is always a big issue, right?
Yes, let's hear why.
The description I did complete 2 courses and didn't complete 1, but the reason I didn't complete is not because of time, but because the description and what I was supposed to get from the course didn't really match from what's inside. It's like the good example I've seen in internet, just a picture saying, hey, you're gonna learn to do these beautiful pictures with your photo camera, and the course itself is about how the camera is consists about the parts the camera consists of.
You're in the wrong content match, right? You didn't get what you were looking for.
Yeah, fair enough.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else who wants to share?
Other reasons for dropping out. It's okay. You can sort of, we're all amongst friends.
Yeah, we won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
So I started a course because I thought I needed the skills from that particular course, and along the line, I felt like I moved away from that career. That's sort of like so, and it was no longer relevant. So that's why I dropped it. Yeah.
Okay, great. The courses you finished, did you get a completion certificate? Okay.
You didn't.
Okay. Did you pay for the courses? Okay, that's why you didn't get the completion certificate. Yeah. Other reasons. So from our own analysis, as we look at the learners, the reasons why people don't finish courses, one is life events. It could be time. It could be things change in their lives. They go off in different directions. The second is because they're in the wrong course. So the mismatch between the content and the course is a big issue. Having said all of that, there is a tremendous difference between the level of commitment with which a person enters the course. So all the content on our platform is free. Anybody can go in, download all of the, you can take all of the videos, you can watch everything. You don't actually have to pay for anything. You only pay if you want the completion certificate, right? If you want to take the assessments and get a course completion certificate. Learners who enroll in a course without paying for the course, somewhere between 8 to 12% of them actually complete a course. And that's very similar to what we've seen. I would say for almost all of you who put your hands up and I said, did you enroll in a course, almost certainly didn't also pay for the courses. So when I asked, did you complete the course, you all put your hands down. If you had paid for the course, completion rates are over 65%. And so that is about as consistent, at least in the US, with completion rates on an on-campus program. So I think there is something, it's not the payment itself that's the issue, it is the commitment and motivation that payment involves in the first place. And once you pay, then there's, so who pays for a course? What's the difference? Well, most of the people who pay for a course is because they need the certificate to do something. They put it on their LinkedIn profile, they put it on their CV, they want it to give to an employer or a new job, or they want to get a tuition reimbursement from their employer. So they need that completion certificate, they're willing to pay for it, and therefore they're very motivated to complete that. So I think that's a big difference between paid and unpaid enrollments. People who complete a course, I think the total average number of course completions to independent course completers is 2:1 right now. So about if somebody completes a course, they're likely to complete a second course. And then the drop-off is significant after that. They're unlikely. So it's averaged out, but 2:1 is about what we've got in course completions. So we'd like to move that needle to 3:1 for course completions. And then LTV, I won't tell you what the LTV is, but you can figure it out by the ratio of completers to completions times the price on our website. So that'll give you the LTV of our learners.
Yeah, works. We could move to the questions, or remember about that surprise video that I have for you.
Yes.
I don't know, guys, if any of you know that I have a long history with Coursera, and it just in 2012 I thought, God, we now have finally will solve all our problems with education. Okay, because I did think, and I still think, that it's a great step forward for all the humanity. But the questions that bothers all of us is that damn completion rate. And back in 2013, when we had started to work in Coursera, with Coursera, back then it was in another location at Digital October. We were one of the first in the world who started to do learning hubs, okay? We had translated it into Russian as Laboratorия знаний, and we were making gatherings of students who enrolled to the Coursera course, and then they were applying to be with us, and we were choosing the students, and we were having a lot of fun with them. And now I would like my colleagues in the room behind the window to put up video number 1. I think it's number 1.
Number 1 is promising. That means we've got more than one video to watch.
to get the projects students can actually practice on. And in our case, these are 3 projects. One of them is mobile application.
My name is Bayram. I'm a business mentor to Digital October Learning Hub on gamification. I have proposed to use our product Inflow, which is a mood tracking app, to be used at the brainstorming sessions at this course. So people would come up with the ideas how to improve retention in our app.
What do you do? Students developed the solution, several of them, and one was chosen to be implemented.
We have this upward coming graph of active users. The same is with the number of users who may check in, at least one check-in this day. So we see some improvement.
We have a steady number of students who are coming here on weekends, on Sunday, and this talks for itself.
The main value of Learning Hub is making, creating the strong connection between theory on a course, on online course, and between the people and their activities in offline, in Digital October.
It's really exciting, and my Sunday is for Digital October and for Learning Hub.
My favorite project here is the social app Inflow because it tries to construct some social good. It tries to help other people.
It's my first offline hub, and it helped me to improve my retention. And it's more fun when you have to meet up with someone who studies the same course.
Go to Learning Hubs, listen to lectures on Coursera, and be cool.
Huh. It's good that I found that video, you know?
Well, thank you. This was before my time, so it's great to see it. We used to have, I know, an initiative to create these learning hubs all over the world. I think Global Skills Initiative, we called it, and all of these. But you know, it's fantastic to be able to do that because we know that blended environments are very, very powerful learning environments. Many of our university partners now are using their MOOCs that they've created for our platform for their own learning in the classroom.
It's easy to do in a university, you know, when you have students, anyways, they're meeting. Though these learning hubs, and I'm sure that we would now talk it over and we will continue on doing it here. I miss Coursera, you know. We already even had little chats here and there because right now I'm astonished with the number of teachers who do courses at Coursera. Many, like I think half of my partners are already at your platform. The feedback from them on do you want to have a learning hub and do it is great because almost all of them are saying that yes, we will be happy. So probably next time you are here, you would see another video about how we were doing here while you were gone.
Sure, that'd be great. I'd love to see it. I think one of the reasons why it didn't get I think learning hubs were a victim of Coursera's success. I think seriously, I think that when the company started and we were talking about thousands of learners, the idea that a few hundred of them may at any point come to a location and do some in-person engagement with the platform was quite feasible. When we saw the sort of exponential growth in 2014, 2015 in particular, and instead of talking about thousands, we were talking about tens of thousands and then millions of students, the idea that you can make an impact with just I think became more problematic for people to imagine that when you've got such large numbers, of active. So we've got about 1 to 1.5 million active learners on the platform every month, right? So how many learning hubs will it need to be able to give them the opportunity, all of them the opportunity to do something was a daunting number. And I think that's one of the reasons why it didn't progress as much as it.
But probably we could, if we could work on it, we could make it some kind of a movement, because that would be great. Because this is the thing for me, as for an educator, this is the thing that, of course, bothers me most. That there are so many content, and I'm not only talking about Coursera. Like, I think we have the content to educate 10 planets already, but only a tiny bit of it is used. Guys, do you maybe have any questions? Yes?
So my question is not on learning hubs, unfortunately, but I do agree with it, and I think especially when it comes to developing countries, learning hubs could be one of those ways to accelerate education for those countries. And we already see some traction with that, with, for example, what Andela is doing in Nigeria, for example. So, but anyways, my question is a little bit different. My question is about your degrees. And I think
I was waiting for this question.
Right. So two related questions. First is a quick summary of how many people are on there and what exactly is happening with the degree specializations that you have. And the second question related to that is the question that is important for us as a company is how are you keeping credibility in those particular courses?
Yeah. So degrees are a relatively new product for us. Our first degree program was launched in January of 2016. It was an MBA from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Then in August of 2016, we launched computer science with a data science concentration, also from the University of Illinois. And then in September of this year, we launched 2 new degree programs, a third degree program from Illinois, our master's in accountancy, and a fourth one from the HEC Business School in Paris on innovation and entrepreneurship. So 4 degree programs on the platform. And I think our target is by 2020, we'll have between 15 to 20 degrees on our platform. So it is the number one priority for Coursera. So why do we, some people ask, why are you doing degrees? You're a MOOC company, right? A degree is a whole other animal than the MOOC. The MOOC was, the fundamental difference, of course, is the word open in MOOC, right? So anybody can take a MOOC and come in, but degrees, you have to apply for admission and you have to be selected in smaller numbers. So the reason we're doing degrees is because we're doing degrees very differently. And let me describe what that is, and then the numbers will make more sense to you. So if you look at the platform today, the fundamental unit of learning on our platform is a course, right? Takes about 4 to 6 weeks to complete. And courses then stack into specializations. Specialization consists of 4 to 6 courses and maybe taking 4 to 6 months to complete, not just 4 to 6 weeks to complete. And the way we built the degrees is that the specializations stack into the degree program. So you can start with a course, you find the course interesting, you can take the specialization, you like the specialization, you can take the degree program. So this is what we call stackable model. Stackability then allows us to take that same content and repurpose it for different learners and meet their needs. So if you look at the Illinois MBA program, which is now 19, 20 months old, we have 1,000 students who are taking the online degree program. So they applied for admission to the program, they got admitted. We're at about 500 to 600 every cohort. Our Illinois and Coursera are going to scale that to about 2,500 students in that program. So 1,000 students in the program. Another 200 students are taking the content for the degree program and are taking it without applying for admission to the program. So they've taken the 4 credit, they're paying the higher price, but they've not applied for admission. So that's another 200. And 300,000 students are taking the open content, the MOOC content, in terms of courses and specializations. So for a student who wants to just try out the course to see whether this is the right course for me or not, they have the ability to do that. For those who know that this is exactly what I want, they can jump into that course as well. So there are no other companies or no other universities even that I know that have that stackable component for us. So this is an exciting development for us. We think that we'd like to grow the number of learners in our degree programs to between 10 to 15,000 in the next 2 or 3 years. So we're talking about scale. Why could the Coursera platform? Another reason for it is we already have very high quality content on our platform. Our university providers build very high content, high quality content. We've got the scale. So the Illinois program is about 200 people on campus. We'll grow that to 2,000 people, 10x what they can do on their campus. And because we can do scale, we can also make the degree much more affordable. So the price of the Illinois degree is $80,000 US on the campus program, and it's $20,000 on Coursera. And it's the exact same degree, right? Same faculty, same content, same diploma credential that you get at the end of it at 1/4 of the price of it. Degree though requires us to do things we don't do in the MOOC platform. So degrees requires faculty to interact with their students. It requires different kinds of assessment that you have to do. It requires greater levels of integrity and verification that you need to ensure within that program. So we've built a whole set of features that we call high engagement features that allow that interaction to take place on our degree platform that's not available on the MOOC platform. So we have Slack integration that allows students to communicate with each other and the faculty. We have Zoom integration that allows us to do live webinars and group projects on that platform. We've got office hours. That allow faculty and their teaching assistants to be available synchronously at different times to be able to address questions. So instead of knocking on the door of your faculty member and trying to get in and ask the questions, you can do it online, and it's the exact same experience. So whole slew of high engagement features that are built to scale So Illinois has gone from 200 students to 1,000 students online without adding any faculty members. So we're taking their existing faculty resources and we're scaling them through technology, right? That's the essential principle. With respect to maintaining the integrity of the process, so we have an ID verification process on our platform that learners have to go through. If you apply for a degree program, not only do you do the ID verification of Coursera, our university partners do their own ID verification. So you've got to submit the transcripts and other things that they need to see. And then we have built the ability for proctoring services to monitor the assessments on the platform. We don't pick the service. We let our university partners pick it. So the University of Illinois uses a competitor of yours called ProctorU, right? So, but we are service agnostic, right? So we can integrate any proctoring service that any of our university partners want onto the service. But it's an important part of the service that we provide them.
Just so our guys online would hear.
just clarifying. So it means that basically the decision strategy is on the university side. So you let the university decide who to work with, and then you're ready to integrate with that person. Yeah.
Yes, though often the way that it works is that we and the university decide together, right? So they've got some options, and we'll say yes, this works better, this works. So we'll help them make the decision, but ultimately it's their decision.
Okay. Then I have an unrelated question to Procter, which is about scaling faculty. So when you're talking 1,000 students, that is still reasonable, I think. Yeah. But when you're talking 3,000 or 4,000 students, so it might actually require that you might, at the end of the day, have to scale faculty.
Yeah, I think what we do is we have to scale the faculty support more than scaling faculty, right? I think that's something that we'll do. But there's a lot of this. So our focus, everything. So the way the Coursera works is our first instinct is always to throw technology at the problem, right? Rather than to throw people at the problem. Okay. So what can we automate, right? So we want to automate almost all academic advising, which is if you finish a course, which course should be taking next? That should be automatic, right? That should be automated on the platform. You've completed. You're having trouble with this module, you should probably go and talk to a TA. Here is the time that those office hours are available. So automated advising allows us, what that does is that by the time the student actually needs to speak to someone, 90% of the problems that they've got have already been taken care of in the platform, and we're going to continue to iterate around that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there are 2 questions here. And by the way, the guys who are watching the online streaming are sending me questions too.
Just adding to the previous topic, I do understand that like a lot of questions potentially could be put away with technology, but the degree program kind of value is to actually communicating with the person, and you need to scale that as well. If you have 20 or 200,000 students, how do you help, or how did you manage to be able to do that?
Yeah, so I think tools like Zoom and Slack and interactive webinars, all of that is mediated, right? Communication. So it's not that people are not communicating. And frankly, in the era of Facebook and Twitter, most of our communications are becoming mediated anyway, right? So it's not that we're doing that differently. What we're doing is taking all that we've learned from how people use social media and saying, how can we use that to scale the academic experience? So people can talk to each other, they can Slack each other, they've got various ways of communicating. That is very consistent with the way that they do it outside of their academic environments. It's the way they do most of their other social media work as well. I think the difference, one of the things that we are seeing is that we're attracting a different kind of learner into those degree programs. And these learners, if you take I'll just give you the example of the MBA program, the average age of the learners, the students in the on-campus program is 27. The average age of the students on the online version of the program is 37. Yes, 10 years older. Why? Because these are people who are working, they've got families, they can't leave those jobs and go do an MBA in a campus
time-saving thing.
Time, and the University of Illinois has shut down their executive education program and moved everything online, because that's the best way to provide that support for working people.
Yeah, I have a bit of a different question. So from what I heard just now, you were speaking about business model from a perspective of a learner, well, 2 learners. But can you tell a bit more how you work with universities, with your partners? It's like a B2B. What is your business model on this aspect?
So B2B and working with the university partners are two different things. And let me
yeah, maybe universities, maybe companies who actually pay you.
Yes.
So for, I don't know, putting something on your platform.
So let me explain that work. So there is the supply chain, which is we work with university partners to put their content on our platform. We don't charge them anything. It's free. Yeah, they can do it. We share revenue with them, right? So they make money when learners buy and pay for it's a revenue share structure. We work with companies by selling that content for their internal training needs.
Of a learner. So it's like they buy.
Exactly. They buy. Yeah. They buy the content and they make the content available free to their employees for training.
But you were just saying that you have some features like webinars, I don't know, virtual classrooms or whatever you have. I'm not sure exactly like all of them. But what if a company wants to put its own content and use this your platform for, providing services to their learners?
Yes.
But not open, content, but just for them, use your webinar, I don't know.
Yeah. No,
like
I understand.
It does, right?
So they're basically using our platform like a learning management system for their internal purposes. We are asked that all the time. Companies want to use, because we've got the best teaching learning platform. So they want to use our platform. We don't license it to them. We will let them put their content on our platform, provided they are also acquiring content from our university partners. So if a company comes and say, okay, I'm going to buy 5,000 seats in the following 10 courses, we'll say again, they'll say, and we also want to put some of our own content on their platform. We say, sure, we can do that. But we don't.
So it's like tailor-made agreements.
What we don't do is what we want is to make our content publicly available. So we've got companies, Yandex is one of our partners, and Yandex is.
They have a great course.
They have great course. They put the course on our platform. Anybody can take it, right? So it's available to anyone. I was in a meeting with them this afternoon. They said, look, we also want to make that same available to our employees, and we can allow them to do that. But if they came to us and say, here's a course, I only want it for my employees and I'm not going to put in the public platform, we'll say no to that.
Okay.
Today we'll say no to that.
Are there any questions? Because I have a question from online. So one of the question is, in the horizon of 5 to 10 years, how would you see the balance of classical universities, institutions to MOOCs?
Yeah, so
I think you get this question a lot.
I get the question a lot. Yes. So I see what I call both an implosion and an explosion, and let me explain that. I think what we're seeing is a convergence now of the traditional residential campus experience and the use of technology. So it's an implosion. So what happened in the early days of the MOOCs was an explosion where the content went out into the world. The universities went out into the world, right? What we're seeing now is that technology is coming back into the university. So many of our university partners want to use our platform to train their students on campus, right? To be able to educate those students. It can be fully online. It can be in the flipped classroom situations, blended learning like you do in the learning hubs, right? So we're seeing that implosion where technology is being pulled back into the campus. And I think what we're going to see now is that more and more the traditional universities will be using technology for their on-campus experience. Their students are demanding it, right? The students want to be able to see those lectures not at Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 a.m. in classroom 2C. And if you missed it, you're gone. You've missed that class. You've missed that lecture. You'll never get that opportunity again. That's not their experience. They want that learning to be on demand. They want it anywhere, anytime. And so universities are reacting to that. I think the other thing is the explosion continues. We are seeing what with the early days, the MOOC revolution, people said, oh, MOOCs are going to replace the traditional universities. MOOCs are going to kill the university. But that's not the case at all. What we're doing, what technology is doing, is to extend the campus in space and in time. And I think that's the tremendous difference now. We are extending the campus in space because we are now reaching, universities are reaching learners that they could never reach, right? That we've got learners in Africa, in Mongolia, in Southeast Asia. Universities in America, at least, could never have used that. And interestingly enough, you take the Russian partners, 50% of the learners in Russian, in courses from Russian universities on our platform are outside Russia, right? So these are people who would never come to Moscow to study in the high school of education.
And those who are taking the course in Russian, right?
Russian and English, because they've got both Russian. Our Russian partners have English content and they've got Russian content. Almost 14% of the learners in courses from Russian universities are in the US, are from the US. 10% of them are from India and South Asia, right? So these are students who would never be able to take courses from Russian universities. So we've extended the campus in space. We've also extended it in time because the only way you could ever get a university experience is if you were an undergraduate and you were 18 years old and you applied for admission and you came and you finished your 3 years and 4 years and then you went away, right? And it was that time in the university was over, and then you waited a few years, and then maybe you came back and did an MA, and then that time was over, and then you left the university.
And you know, now that you have to probably switch to another professions more and more rapidly, you know.
But now you never have to leave the university because that university's content is always available, and new content is available, and this is what we call lifelong learning, right? And people are learning all through their lives because they have to change careers, learn new skills, but their university is always available to them, whether they're 18 years old or whether they're 28, or we've got people like me who are much older and still can take courses from our university partners.
By the way, are you taking any courses on Coursera?
Not right now, but I've finished 3 courses. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good for you. Anyways, since we are in a place with startups and investments, of course, I have the question about money. So our online watcher is asking, what is that brings the hugest money in MOOC? So what is that thing that gives the most value in money? And on the other hand, what blocks the money flows? Because he's comparing the money that the universities get from MOOC and the money that the university get from the tuition fees.
Yeah, so I think, so the biggest source of revenue for MOOC providers today remains the courses and specializations that they provide to individuals who come on, who pay for it. So most of our revenue comes from that product. I think the mix is going to change considerably as we start to add more and more degree programs, because the degrees, you pay $29 for a course, but you pay $20,000 for a degree. So the price points are dramatically different, and I think that those MOOC platforms that can successfully make the transition to high value and high priced degree programs are going to see a significant change in the revenue mix. Companies are also becoming a significant source of revenue. Corporate training is one of the largest markets in the world, and university MOOC providers are making significant impact in that. So I think that market will also continue to grow. I think the biggest blocker for it is really the ability to demonstrate value to learners for the price they pay for a course or a specialization. We know the value of a degree, right? It's a credential. It's recognized around in your country, around the world. People pay for it. It's a rite of passage. The undergraduate degree, everybody needs it. The master's degree is increasingly becoming important. That's easy to do. But what value does someone get from a course? What value do they get from a specialization? That is the biggest blocker, and I think that over time, that will continue to increase as the market value of that credential gets established.
Thank you. Okay, and the winner is?
Sorry, I've been asking a lot of questions, but anyways, you have this just one chance. Why not? So two questions. One philosophical, the other more practical. The philosophical question is about assessments in general, and the question is about whether or not you think assessment and the way we do assessment currently is the way forward, or there has to be something that changes practically about assessment. If yes, what exactly has to change? If no, what are your sort of vision for the future in terms of assessments? Then the more practical question is about proctoring for courses that are not part of your degree program, right? And at some point there was something on Coursera that allows you to take, you sign sort of like honor code and something is still there. Then there's still, I don't know, typing signature track or something. And the question is whether or not you are maybe actively or not actively looking for solutions for that kind of market, which is not high value, but all the same, you want to keep some sort of integrity in those courses. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good questions. The first one, we already changed the notion of assessment, right? I think the traditional university assessment structure is not designed, is designed to evaluate, not designed to enable learners to get mastery. I think that's that, and the MOOC revolution changed that, because we said we're not here to judge people. We're not here to issue A, B, C, D, or 90%, 95%, 93%. We're here to make sure that people gain mastery of the material that they are engaged with, and therefore we are going to do assessments in a way that allow people to gain that mastery. So assessments is part of the learning process rather than a judgment of an outcome for a particular individual. But the problem in the early days of that MOOC revolution is that the scope of assessments were very limited, right? There was only what you could do that you could scale. And I think what we've seen recently is a dramatic change now in the types of assessments that we are offering on the platform, right? So you've got qualitative assessments, you've got in-browser coding, so that you never have to leave that environment. We're going to start integrating, and we're already testing integrations of things like Jupyter Notebooks and auto-grading of Jupyter Notebooks as well. So I think we're pushing the boundaries now of what can happen in terms of assessment. I think the frontier here is the combination. Now that we've got tremendous amounts of data now on what happens in that learning experience, and the application of artificial intelligence now into that data to be able to develop assessments. I think that's where you're going to see the field go, and we're very excited about doing that. One of the things around assessments is everything right now is still an assessment. We also want to talk now thinking about diagnostics. So we want to know what people know before they start learning, so that we can match them into that right content. So to go back to your problem that you got into the right course, we got into the right course because we didn't know enough about you. You went to because we left you to your own. You had to figure it out. There was a course description page. You read it, you said, yeah, this maybe sounds right. Let me attempt it, but it wasn't the right thing. And we provided no help to you at all. Other than that description page, we provided nothing to you. Well, we're changing that. Now, if you go onto our platform, there's an onboarding process. We're going to ask you what your aspirations are. Do you want to start a new career? Do you want to switch a career? You want to do this for personal enrichment? What are the areas? What's your level of preparation? And then we give you a set of recommendations to meet those objectives. We will introduce into that process diagnostics so that the recommendation engine can precisely tell you, you want to become a software engineer, you need the following 12 skills. Our diagnostic says that you already have 3 of them. Here are the 9, here are the courses that will give you the 9 course skills that are missing from your skill set, right? So matching learners to content is something that we are investing a lot on as well. So assessments are going to be very important, both within the course environment as well as before the course environment. In terms of the proctoring and the MOOC platform, yeah, we used to do a typing test and things. So we've been doing a lot of testing around this. The fact is that there is, in the MOOC environment at least, and there's very little fraud. There's very little attempt to provide, nobody is signing up, is trying to sign up under my name or somebody else's name and somebody else is taking, it's too much work to plan the cheat than it is the benefit that you get from the cheat itself, right? So we're taking another look at that. We do ID verification. So we ask learners who want to get a certificate to put a government-issued ID, scan it and put it and upload it, and then we take a picture of them, and then we use a service that matches the 2 documents. But we've been testing now, and there's very little fraud. Then it's a cost-benefit analysis issue, right? Do we need to make that investment? Probably not. I think if we took away all ID verification and just left it with the honor code, I don't think we would see any difference in the integrity of the platform. For the degree and the high engagement, high value content, it is a very important thing. It's very important to maintain the integrity of the institution and the system to be able to do that, and we'll continue to invest in better ways to do verification and proctoring in the high engagement services.
Okay, we have a question from my colleague.
I have one global question, I think. What do you think do you feel any tendency for creating some professions that will be popular in the future? And what skills and specializations you provide in Coursera are most popular among your audience?
Let me answer the second question first, because it's really easy. Most of the popular content in our platform are in 3 categories: business, technology, and data. Right? And in fact, I'd like to say we were the creators of the data science online category. We were the pioneers in that. And that remains a very, very popular space for us. Some of the best performing content from our Russian partners are actually around data science and machine learning.
Yeah, that's our favorite part.
Yeah, so that remains that remains very active. We've got a lot of tech data that's very popular, and business data as well. That remains very popular. Yes, we're always thinking about what's going to be popular next. So we're looking at the frontiers of new professions that are developing. We've got several content that we'll be launching around blockchain and blockchain applications. We're going to start doing things around autonomy, self-driving cars. So we're always looking to see where where future work trends are going, and then sourcing content ahead of those opportunities.
Okay, another question here, please.
You were already speaking about trends, like especially in I would say increasing efficiency of education, like for example assessing data analytics and predicting what courses would be more useful. What other trends would you, I don't know, notice, or maybe you already do, that will increase, interaction maybe within, when you're doing these online courses, so to increase efficiency basically of the online education?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of work already being done around interaction and, essentially using social media features within the course environment, right? I think one area that we're making a huge investment is in the area of personalization, right? So until now, I don't think we've even begun to really touch the promise of the online learning, because we're still giving thousands of learners the same learning experience, right? What we need, what technology allows us to do, and the combination of technology and data allows us to do, is to build a learning experience that is different for each individual learner, right? So until now, the focus of technology is how do we replicate all of the benefits of the in-person experience, right? So we're trying to copy that right now. So what happens when you go into a classroom? There are 100 students maybe taking a class. The faculty member comes, delivers one lecture. All 100 students listen to the same lecture. It doesn't matter whether the learner, what they know from the past, what their expertise is, what their learning styles are.
Do they have any gaps?
Nobody have any gaps. Yeah. Everybody gets the same learner. What technology allows us to do and say, no, this lecture is going to be different for this person, because we know so much about who they are and how they learn and how they succeed, and it's going to be very different for somebody else. So both the content that we provide as well as the way that content is provided will begin to be personalized. In medicine, you already see that happening, right? What are we doing? We're saying that the medical treatment is different for people with different genetic markers, right? So now we're looking into the genetic structure of an individual and their DNA and saying this antibiotic will work differently in different doses for this person because of their genetic structure, and it'll be very different from somebody else.
Like educational genetics,
That's exactly what this is. So we're going to use that same knowledge and that same technology and the same data analytics, and we're going to start applying it to the way people learn and applying it to the teaching learning environment.
What about talking about trends? Thank you for the question. What about, this is something that I am amazed, but get sick too, VR technologies. This is the part that amazes me the most, but I get so dizzy still. Do you put any hope into this fellow?
I think we will see VR applications over time as the technology gets better, the prices come down, the devices get more manageable. There'll be some learning context for that, I'm sure. But at the same time, on the one hand, we're also trying, the point is, how do you improve interaction and how do you improve engagement on the platform? We're not there. In some ways, the VR as it is today is more of an isolating technology than it is a interactive technology in terms of engagement with other people. So I think we'll say, but there are some applications for which VR is going to be great. I think we're also going to see some augmented reality And perhaps we'll see that AR first before we see VR in the learning environment, and basically embedded technologies and embedded systems within courses that will provide a different learning experience. And maybe those will come before VR, but I'm sure there'll be some applications coming soon.
I have a little question too. I work with adults mostly, okay, and all of my, but I also have, as soon as I have a kid, I surely started to do something for kids too. Do you have any thoughts on taking Coursera to be enjoyed by the younger students? Because I know there are a lot of examples that students in high schools and even in the middle school are taking the courses and doing great with them, and the schools are using. But do you precisely think about having like Coursera Kids or something like that?
Yeah, so I'm if you ask me, I get asked the question a lot. And when I get asked it in the office, I say, no. Our content is designed only for adult learners. 83% of the learners on our platform already have an undergraduate degree. So they're not just...
And that 37?
Yeah, so they're 22 and older. So this is... What we have is not really relevant for kids. And then I go home and my 14-year-old son is taking Coursera courses. So that makes me think, oh, maybe I'm missing something here, and maybe there is an application for that. But I think, there are, firstly, there are very good alternatives in the K through 12, in the school environment. You've got Khan Academy, that's an excellent place for online learning in the school system. I think where we will go with that is the bridge between school and college, right? So we see this in the US, and maybe you don't have the same problem in Russia, but in the US, our university partners complain all the time about the fact that the people they admit to their institutions are not prepared to make the jump.
Some foundation courses or
foundation
like
courses, bridge courses. I think we'll certainly start offering those as well. The other thing that our university partners are looking for is to increase the diversity of the population that's applying to their, by providing some material to high school students ahead of time, particularly underrepresented minorities, so whether they're African Americans or Hispanic populations that are underrepresented in the college population in the US. Can we reach them in the school and start giving them college content that helps prepare them and encourages them to start applying that? So I think we will start doing something along those lines. I don't think we'll ever, at least not for the foreseeable future, start actually putting school content on the platform.
Yeah, speaking about trends again. So those guys on the video, they were doing gamification. So is gamification actually applicable to online education? Can you do games, but with education online? Do you think about it?
Yeah, well, a lot of, at least in the school environment. So in the K through 12, if you look at school education, a lot of it is already gamified, right? In fact, so if you want to, if you're in 4th grade and you want to learn math, there's a game. There are games that do it. So in the school environment, we've gamified it. I think we believe that once you come to college, you have to be more serious and you have to be more, there's more a traditional way of learning. But I think what we're seeing already is the idea of levels and progression, right? So one of the things about games is that you continue to progress from one level to another. You continue to build your capabilities. You collect badges, and we're already seeing badges become important within online learning. So I think we'll see elements of gamification come in, but I don't think we'll see the same kind of gamification that we are seeing in school content. Yeah, yes, business simulations, but the business simulations existed before the games were, before the online games in some way. So, but that's certainly, certainly areas that people are investing in.
Hello, my name is Irina. I would like to know more about your business strategy as a company in Russia. Do you plan any alliances or maybe joint projects? How would you like to enter the market and grow here? Thank you.
So we've already entered the market and we've already growing very well, right? So it's one of our faster growing markets, and it's grown what I would say organically. We've never done any significant marketing or publicity in the Russian market. We've grown really on the strength of the content on the platform, and particularly as we've continued to increase the amount of Russian language content on the platform, we've grown very well in the market. I think the government is trying to do some interesting things with online education, with the national platform and other areas, bringing formal education online. I think that there's also significant room for supplementary education of the kind that we provide in our platform to also be part of those kinds of initiatives, and we'd like to participate in those initiatives as well. But frankly, we've got great progress without doing anything right now, so we're not looking for alliances. What we will do is continue to add a lot of Russian language content on our platform in the next year to 2 years. That's a big focus. We'd like to see maybe 20, 30 specializations in the next couple of years coming from Russian language content.
And what do you think about degree programs with Russian universities?
We like the idea.
Is it possible?
Yes, I think it's possible. We've got some creative ideas about this. We are talking to a few of our Russian university partners. I can't say more about that right now, but we think it's possible, and we think it's desirable.
But it should be an initiative that comes from a university, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, guys, we have an opportunity to ask the last question. And you are back. So probably it will be yours. Anybody? Okay, sure.
I don't know, are we the only startups here? I don't think so. Oh, okay, looks like we are the only one. So my question is about startups generally. Coursera started, at a time when there was this boom in MOOCs and all of that.
Well, we started the boom.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you. So I'll just ask, what is your recipe for success, especially in the EdTech scene? And so as we are sort of a small, tiny company trying to figure it out, so would love what you have to say on that. Thank you.
Yeah, a word from Big Brother.
So nobody has a magic formula for startup success. Anybody who tells you they have one is lying to you. 9 out of 10 startups fail. So that's, anybody who starts who does a startup starts with the knowledge that I only have 10% chances of succeeding. So anybody who says that I know how to come up with that 10% is so far, even the biggest venture capitalists have not figured that out right now. My view of startups is There are three kinds, there are three ways. The first is, I would say, problem-based startups. And I think it's important that a startup knows what kind of startup it is. What is it doing? So it's a problem-based startups, and the second I would say are solution-based startups, right? So problem-based startups, my best example of that is Uber. Does anybody know why Uber was started?
No, tell us the story. Seriously, I don't know.
So I'll give you a personal story, and then I'll tell you, and then you'll know why Uber was started. So three, four, maybe a year or two before Uber was launched, I was in vacationing with my family in San Francisco, in the city, and there's an outdoor tea garden in San Francisco, and we were there, and it started to rain, really hard. So I looked for a taxi and found the numbers of there were three taxi companies in the city, and I called the first one, nobody picked up. I left a voicemail. I called the second one, and they said, yes, we're going to have a taxi to you. I said, how long do you think? They said about 35, 40 minutes, right? And then I called the third one, and nobody picked up. And that was the problem, right? That was the problem in San Francisco. And Uber was launched to solve San Francisco's taxi problem, because you couldn't ever find a taxi in the other, I say, is a sort of a solution-based startup, which is you have a solution, you don't know whether there's a market for it or not, but it takes, my best example of solution-based problem is Facebook, right? There was no problem that Facebook solved. There was no problem, no one's lives were suffering because they didn't have Facebook, right? But they had a great solution, and people found a way to go after it, right? And to take it up. So that's a great example of a solution-based. The third one, and this is the vast majority of startups are like this, is what I call the lucky startup, right? Which is you don't have a solution, you don't really have a problem, but something takes off, and that's what happened with the MOOCs, right? It was an experiment. There was no design. When Coursera was launched and when edX was launched, there was no design to set up a business to do a startup. These were university professors who were putting their courses online.
But there was a problem. I remember Daphne saying that she got tired of lecturing over and over.
No, that's Daphne's personal problems, okay. Which is a whole different issue altogether, right? But what they did was they built a platform to say, yeah, we're going to put this courses outline, see what happens, and extend our impact, and it took off. And so you have to understand what kind of a startup are you? Are you a problem-based startup or a solution-based startup? I think that's one. The other thing I think is really important for startups is to understand where you are in the ecosystem. And I want to just put up one slide.
Finally, Nikita, it's the time for that one. Great.
All right. So this is the higher education technology landscape, and you can, I'm happy to share this with you. So it's the columns as they run down are, I don't know if you can see it, maybe too small from here. But the first column is college-wide IT and enterprise backbone. So these are technology companies that are helping.
If you could share it with us, I think we could put it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and you can.
And we already have it.
Right, you may have to have it. So you can I can show you the link where you can go and even download it if you want. Right. So this is people who work within the campus. The second is enrollment management. These are people who work with the people who bring learners into the academic system.
But this is actually an American market, right?
Well, a lot of these companies are providing
well,
international services. The third is what they call student success and introduction. So the first is how do you make the university run? The second is how do you get students to come to the university? The third is how do you make them successful once they come to the university? And fourth is how do you keep them successful after they've left the university, or what they call advancement. And then there are different categories within each of these. You don't have to do it for EdTech. Whatever industry you're in, you should create this map, and you should find where you are in this map. And then you have to ask yourself the question, is there white space in that landscape for me to occupy? And if so, if so, that's great, because that's an opportunity. And if not, then you have to ask yourselves is what am I doing better, cheaper, differently, faster, that I think that I can compete with the people who are occupying that white space over there. So that would be my advice to the startups. Locate yourself within the ecosystem.
Great, and it's so great that this last question was about startups, because here is also the startup place as well as educational one. And let's give the warm applause to Nikkhil. Thank you so much for
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Giving us this opportunity. I think we had a great time. Yay! Thank you.
Thanks.